Sometimes we have those moments that we're finding a device that you're thinking, hey, this is familiar. And in particular when you're looking at, let's say, the logo itself. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to take a close look at the M19. It's a tiny, let's say, Game Boy version, but when it comes to the software and the emulation performance, this is quite interesting. And that's actually the reason why I picked it up. So first of all, let's take a close look at the parameters or the specifications. This thing comes with a rock chip R566 and a quad-core Cortex A55, 4GB of RAM, 64GB of storage, emulation 4.3. And yeah, the display itself is 4.3 inches with a resolution of 480 by 272 inches and 3000 mAh battery. The M19 came out of nothing, a different, let's say, company, not a brand new company because I've reviewed a couple of those game boxes. So they have like the complete lineup of game boxes and everything else. So the toilet paper manual doesn't really explain a lot. So for example, the function description, the basic function, and basically what it can do. So they're claiming to have PlayStation Portable and then 64. Yeah, right. So in here we're having the device, different kind of colors can be bought. I've bought myself the retro edition. Yeah, and I can tell you that this thing feels quite heavy and then it does have like a very nice feel. However, when it comes to like the form factor, it's in quite slim model. So I've seen all kinds of, let's say, perfect clones, like big boys, like let's say the Beefcake editions. This is I don't know, to be honest. Like, I don't know if it's going to be the most comfortable device out there. We have like a nice Nintendo Switch lookalike joystick with a click. They're having the D-pad over here that feels quite nice. Select Start, ABXY. And at the back we're finding a very strange, interesting configuration when it comes to the back buttons. So the on and off switch is over here. We have an HDMI out and the SD card. And this is actually the most of the time, let's say, the storage capacity, the main storage capacity, what I understand of 128GB. There are different, let's say, configurations out there. So at the bottom we're finding a headphone jack and the USB-C. But how is it when it comes to, let's say, the shoulder buttons? Oh, by the way, and for that I'm completely forgetting the volume control. It was a very strange but interesting, let's say, configuration. And I'd explain why. Because sometimes they're placing them at the right or the left and you're going to be pushing it in while actually playing. So for having not a problem, they're basically putting them on the back. So the shoulder buttons, I'm not a big fan of it because if I'm just holding the device, you can already see that my fingers are going to be in this position to make it comfortable. And they should place the shoulder buttons in here because it would be so much more convenient and, in my opinion, logical to put them there, but they placed it underneath. And also the configuration of the buttons, yeah, they're not easy to press and you can just see them from the side. So they completely messed up. But let's power it on and let's see how it is with the software, and let's remove the screen protector. So the display, this looks nice. Very thin black bezel around it. I can tell you, I like it a lot. Loading up emulation, this preset of the device. Wouldn't be, let's say, it wouldn't be surprising that we do have like different emulator software in the future or something else. Oh, and if you wonder what are getting more in the package, there was no HDMI cable. Nope, nothing at all. No, just a long, yeah, Type-C cable for charging. The rock chip that we have seen in many other devices. So that is, in my opinion, nothing really new. But however, when it comes to, let's say, the software, what can we actually play out of the box? So there's a lot of stuff we can play. Here I have PC Engine, so 8-bit, 16-bit, and I would not think this is going to be an issue whatsoever. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how everything like N64 will play, PlayStation Portable, of course, PlayStation 1. We cannot really upscale, but I think a lot of devices nowadays can play PlayStation 1 without any problem. Arcade, Final Burn Alpha, and you know, there's all kinds of cool stuff. I do see a little bit of flickering on my camera at this point. I don't know why, because my camera has been set to 60 frames per second, and my screen I think is not 60 or something because it's flickering. Okay, so pressing start will give you not a lot of options. So delock the system over here, systems, information. That's it. There's no thing going on. Advanced has been disabled. Restore default settings and sound, and that's it. There's nothing much you can actually do with it. So let's get into some gaming, and I want to particularly focus on, let's say, the high-end stuff because that is quite interesting. Because there we're going to have like a lot of overall less interesting performance. But maybe start off with some Sega Genesis. Another feature they implemented, and they absolutely nailed it with this, the search function. So let's say if you want to search for a game, it even remembers the less search. So let's say you want to be searching, and even going to make it favorite list if you want to. And you know, the way how this actually works is out of the box just great. So over here, search, let's say I want to have Street of Rage. So let's put in Street, pushing the accept, and here we can find all of the Street games. Man, that's like magic. The quick menu is kind of disappointing, and I mean particularly when there is not a lot of option. Do have quick load, quick save, you know, that's actually working fine. But how is it with the emulation? Let's get into that. We're only having one front-facing speaker, so I can tell you that it goes quite loud. Ooh, I hear stuttering. The display looks beautiful. The D-pad is very responsive. I like the analog stick. Yeah, it's great. So for gameplay overall experience, that's absolutely cool. Okay, let's do a quick test with something else. I just wanted to see how the joystick and also the D-pad responds when it comes to, let's say, the games, the fighting games in particular, because I would really love to play those. Okay, so that seems to be working fine. Okay, great. So let's get into the D-pad if I'm done with being dizzy. You know that always happens with me. Go away. Yeah, the D-pad is perfect. Yeah, the D-pad is perfect. So when it comes to playing fighting games, this thing is absolutely great. Where I'm not the biggest fan of, let's say, the overall form factor, it's absolutely great when it comes to, let's say, actually the D-pad and the analog stick and the positioning and everything else. But let's get something basic and let's try some NES games. So we do have reached the point that we have so many devices that can actually play it. You know those, let's say, $8 ones that also plays it. So if you don't only have like NES, there are so many solutions out there. But I'm just quite surprised actually how good it looks on this display. I don't know if the camera even picks it up. But another thing is like the D-pad. This is just amazing. We just tried fighting games, but if you're going to be playing this with beat 'em ups, it feels so nice. It's just the way the travel and the way how it just responsiveness of this is just great. Okay, so let's slap some guys with some sticks. Oh yeah. Oh. And not even to talk about the audio. I'm so surprised by this tiny speaker how good it sounds. If they would go for 2 speakers, man, that would be like legendary. Let's move on to the Super Nintendo. Yeah, the soundtracks are absolutely in my head for stuck forever. Another game that I needed to play, and of course the D-pad is super important. So you can see that we do have a little bit of a wiggly going on, so where there is no movement with the helicopter. But so far, I think I don't really mind today that this D-pad is not on this position. Normally I'm always complaining about it, I don't have the D-pad here and the analog stick there, but I think it's more like a personal thing. I'm just a D-pad gamer. Great emulation when it comes to Super NES, there's nothing to actually complain here. Forsaken 64 is a game that I've played so much. For me it reminds me of the Descent for the PC and PlayStation. It was such a cool game, and revisiting this on this tiny device is just amazing. And 64, it's going to be a hit or miss when it comes to actually the overall emulation performance, but you can see that we do have already some good overall performance here. It's going to be challenging because the question remains, do we have configuration set correctly? Okay, so we can move it forwards, backwards, okay. Oh man, where's the buttons? Oh, there we go. Oh man, I'm going to be destroyed here. So this is a very interesting game to check out. So the emulation performance, it's just fantastic. for N64 this game. It's going to be in hit or miss, and I will show you later on what I mean. Can just shoot the rocket at the guy. There we go, much better. So, but you can just see how I can just really enjoy myself. But you need to get used to the controls, and that has to do because of the horrible back buttons. And this is why I said this was absolutely an epic fail. Another thing is like, how do we actually play this? Because here we go, the problem is that when it comes to playing this, you can use a D-pad. You can just see both of them. But if you need games that we're actually going to be needing both, that's going to be an issue. But I don't want to get your highs up for every single game. I just want to showcase, like with, of course, my favorite test bench, Cruising the USA. And yeah, it's going to be stuttering nightmare, because this game and many others like GoldenEye 007 and the more demanding ones. Okay, another problem we're facing is, okay, acceleration. That is mapped to the back button, but now I need to hold it. You know, this is what I mean, like it's completely unplayable. D-pad and analog stick have been configured correctly, but you know, this is unplayable. If I can hold it, let's say the shoulder button over here at the back, what I mentioned before, it's going to be better, but this, no, this is just unplayable. Not only the emulation performance not great, but the configuration of the buttons at the back, this is just, oh. I don't know if this is going to be the, let's say, the ultimate handheld or Game Boy Advance handheld solution, because I understand the resolution is going to be slightly different than the original one. But emulation performance wise, nothing to complain here. Already mentioned a couple of times, the D-pad is amazing, but it also is the same when it comes to, let's say, playing these games. So for just playing Game Boy Advance games, emulation is great, good audio, absolutely, I love it. Another system I don't show that often on, let's say, the channel here is Neo Geo Pocket Color. Man, this is cool. Such a fun game. Metal Slug on this is so cool, absolutely. Where this is nothing near the Break Arcade version, this is so much fun to check out. Sometimes I wish I as a child I had the Neo Geo Pocket Color. I could like really enjoy myself with these games. And the Neo Geo Pocket has a lot of hidden gems like this. So let's move on to the Neo Geo Arcade with some viewpoint. 1, 2, 3. First time I've played this game, I completely like failed at it. It's such a difficult game. And also a very unique experience. And those are the games that are the most fun. I can just play these games over and over again. Haha, there we go. But throughout the stage, it's going to be becoming more and more difficult. And emulation on these basic games run great, no problem whatsoever. But what you need to look out for, if you're getting into the MAME, yeah, Killer Instinct and Tekken, those games will not run. And of course there are so many cool MAME games that we can play on the go on this device. But the unfortunate part is that not the right emulator has been set on certain games like Blood Bros. I can just hear that runs a little bit slower. No extra button has been mapped, just the 2 buttons that we're going to be needing. But the over emulation works just fine. It's one of those games I can keep on playing. I still remember at the first time I've experienced it as a child, it was so much fun. I was playing it together with a friend because you can actually play this with 2 players. That is so absolutely epic. Where this also is a great device for playing Game Boy Classic games. We don't need any bezels whatsoever, because this looks absolutely great. Another game I've played so much. With the most groovy soundtracks you can find for the Game Boy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But this game's kind of cheesy, Simply because every single time, every stage, the final chest is going to be the key. So yeah, spoiler. But it's a cheesy game, but I love it. The soundtracks that keep me on playing this. Games like Donpachi will not look this best because normally they're playing in vertical mode games. But thanks this thing is not like a super widescreen resolution, it will still be forgivable to actually play this. But there are game systems out there, handhelds, that have especially been made for games like this. But so far I can see in here there is nothing going on compared with the Blood Bros game. And this is one of those games I can just keep playing. So satisfying. Another amazing system that I love to play is PC Engine. This is just such a cool game with many different hidden gems. This pinball is maybe one of my favorite, let's say, old school pinball games. It has been ported to, I think, was a Mega Drive. But of course the PC Engine is so much more superior when you're looking at different ports and different versions. But it's such a difficult game. I completely suck with this pinball game. But the music alone, again, man oh man. The major problem I was having with these devices is that they're removing the soundtracks of the PlayStation games. If they're doing this, they just save up space and just try to slap more games on it. That is so unfortunate, but the emulation performance of PlayStation is just fine. You can just play it great on this with the rock chip. However, let's see. Oh, there goes my weapon. You know how it goes. Grease him, punch him in the balls. But performance is great, no upscaling is possible with this. But what I do want to, let's go to the PlayStation Portable, because that is going to be a challenge playing it on here. The annoying thing with PlayStation Portable is when you want to actually play something. And the reason why is that you can see the buttons are still in the screen, but they will go away. But every single time you're booting up, you will see them for some time. I don't know why they just remove them, because you don't need them at all. So first of all, when you're looking at some basic games, there are a lot of stuff you can actually play and enjoy. And games like this, no problem whatsoever. But with the PlayStation Portable, every single game will have black bars on top and at the bottom. I did notice that there is no configuration method possible. You can see when going into the menu every single time, it will show the buttons itself. Minor hiccups are normal, simply because of the chipset and everything else. So let's skip everything. Let's get into the gameplay. We do got some playable situation over here with some hiccups. So in this case, I think it's going to be more a situation that you can really enjoy PlayStation Portable, but it's going to be a hit or miss. The same situation like N64. The HDMI port, let's see how that actually works. So let's plug it in, when it's in the game. Let's see if it's going to be even booting up. Yep, it does give a signal over here. I can see it, the LED is turning on. Oh boy, it takes a very long time actually. But nothing is actually happening, no. Nope. Yep, there we go. I needed to reset. So in game, we cannot do that. So we need to get back to the game itself. You can see that it didn't, it didn't boot up. It didn't boot up in the game itself. So yeah, that's a downside. But let's play in game. Let's have some fun. And yep. So first of all, so I just love this thing for fighting games. So it's going to be a great overall experience. Oh. Let's plug it out. Let's see what happens then. Let's see, man, it's switching between this is not a good idea. So that is something. Yep, it's going to be rebooting again. So if you want to switch, you need to get out of the game, make a quick load, quick save, at least. So the first thing I did notice with this is the build quality. This thing does have a very nice, let's say, overall good build quality when it comes to the feel and everything else. We can open up the battery compartment fairly easy and just pull out the battery if you want to. So I'm guessing you need to be very gentle with this. So you have just a plug, and here we can just unplug it, be very gentle with it. So here we're finding the battery is in 3000 milliamp. I'm guessing if you're going to be ordering this number over here, what I understand of, you get yourself a replacement. So this is a very big positive thing. Replacing the battery is quite easy. After using for some couple of, let's say an hours now, it does have like getting really hot. But let's remove the other screws over here. Oh man, it's going to be slightly different. And I don't know if I can reach everything. No, I need a different screwdriver. But let's remove all the screws and let's do a quick peek in the inside. You need a pry tool to open it up, that is one thing. So the construction is a combination of 6 tiny screws, one different screw for the battery compartment. So the only thing that we can just do is remove this. So you can see the piece of plastic is already falling out when it comes to the volume control. So let's put this aside. So it's just one piece of plastic, and here having the shoulder buttons, or at least the shoulder back buttons. I'm also seeing shoulder buttons, having a massive brain fart. Maintenance wise, this is an interesting one. So first of all, the analog stick can be replaced. So let's say this thing will maybe have drifting in the future. Let's say that happens. You can just flip it out, get another one, and just replace it. So that's great. Maybe if you want to replace with a different analog joystick or maybe a digital one, you can do it. So far, if the ribbon cable adds up, there is no problem whatsoever. So you can see over here there is a module. I'm guessing this is going to be for the Wi-Fi. 4 of the shoulder buttons, and you do have like a lot of force that you need to put in for actually like activating them. That's also like one of the biggest problems, beside having the placement is not correct, or not for me. The speaker can be removed, so all the other parts need to be soldered off. So let's see what it says over here. 2024 has been manufactured. So that's actually it. So this is the only thing that we're finding when it comes to, let's say, the maintenance. We can remove the main board with a couple of screws, but you can upgrade, or at least like upgrade, let's say they replace the LCD display. So maintenance wise, this thing, you can repair it if needed. Why I personally love the way how this thing looks, it's not the best comfortable handheld out there. So where I'm not, let's say, a big fan of the back buttons, the overall, let's say, way how it feels in my hands, it's quite comfortable. The analog stick plays great and beautiful and very nicely, let's say, responsive D-pad. ABXY buttons feel nice. So when it comes to that, I am absolutely big fan of this thing. But the back buttons is a big downside. Having 3000 milliamp battery will give you a very nice gameplay of a couple of hours. However, when you're looking at, let's say, the overall quality, yeah, is this really worth your money? Because we have so many different options out there, and the back buttons, I keep saying it, is a big downside. Let's say if you're going to play some N64. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, and it would be great to see you in the next video.